Squeaky, get out here. Vic's chopping down trees again. The shrill shout jarred me awake. I opened my eyes to find myself curled up in a cramped dirt tunnel. Who's Squeaky? Didn't I just lie down in my own bed to go to sleep? What the hell is this place? Was I dreaming again? Before I could even get my bearings, a sharp, mechanical voice echoed inside my skull. My head felt like it was splitting open. Welcome to the world of Fuzzy Friends Forest. Due to an invasion by an unknown entity, the story has been maliciously corrupted. Please adhere strictly to the following rules. Chatter is already dead. Don't let him jump on you. Don't believe a word Scamper says. Don't eat the honey Cole gives you. Whatever you do, don't eat it. Find Patches. Only Patches knows how to leave this world. You can trust Vic the lumberjack. The sound of his chainsaw can temporarily drive those things away. King's Crown holds all the truth you're looking for. Be careful. Don't let Mo see you. Don't follow Cody's orders. Don't let any of them discover your true identity. Before I had a chance to process any of it, a huge paw grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and lifted me out of the hole. It was Cole, the dopey-looking bear. But right now, Cole's eyes glinted with a cunning and strangeness that didn't match his usual oafish face. Squeaky, what's with you today? You don't seem like yourself. Cole held me dangling. I saw a flicker of green light in his eyes. A loud, grating chainsaw roar suddenly snapped me to my senses, making me jump. Something was wrong. In a cartoon, Cole was always the simple-minded, good-natured one. How could he have noticed something was off about me so quickly? How about we have some honey first? Cole said. Cody and the others already went ahead. We could take our time. An alarm bell went off in my head. Don't eat the honey Cole gives you. Whatever you do, don't eat it. The rule flashed in my mind. I quickly waved my paws, refusing his offer. But his eyes stayed fixed on me, his outstretched paw not moving an inch. You're not Squeaky. Who are you? I watched as his eyes glowed a brighter green. The fur on his body split apart, revealing foul-smelling, raw red flesh underneath. His face became obscured by pulsating red boils, and his fangs grew longer and longer. Cole, I had a stomachache all night after eating your honey yesterday. I blurted out. I've still got to go find Cody and the others. Can't be late for that. Luckily, I could still taste a faint sweetness in my mouth. I guess the real Squeaky must have eaten the honey last night. Cold sweat dripped down my back. It was a long shot, but it was all I had. Cole, it's true. Squeaky did eat your honey yesterday. It was Chatter, the squirrel. I instantly remembered the rule. Chatter is already dead. So who, or what, was this squirrel? And why did he emerge from the shadows? Had he been watching me this whole time? I saw the fur on Cole's body slowly stitch itself back together, as if the horrific vision I'd just seen was nothing but a hallucination. Well, let's go then, Cole grunted. Don't want to keep them waiting. I followed behind Cole with Chatter, all the while keeping my distance from the squirrel. You're not Squeaky, are you? Chatter whispered, sidling up to me. This world was overrun by monsters a long time ago. There is no forest anymore. Did the rules tell you I was dead? That's a lie. It's a conspiracy by the monsters. Nobody can ever leave this place, and that includes you. His face was right next to mine, his voice filled with absolute conviction. You're an outsider, aren't you? Answer me, aren't you? Aren't you? Chatter's words grew more frantic, a red light flashing violently in his eyes. It felt like if I admitted it, he would leap on me and tear me to shreds. This was all wrong. Don't let any of them discover your true identity. Chatter knew about some of the rules, but I couldn't trust a single word he said. Until I got new information, I had to stick to the original rules. What's wrong with you, Chatter? Of course I'm Squeaky. You and Cole are acting really weird today. I puffed out my chest and scurried forward to catch up with Cole. Out of the corner of my eye, I watched Chatter. He had stopped in his tracks, his head lowered as if deep in thought. So it was just a test. Thank God I didn't lose my nerve. Cole, what took you guys so long? A voice boomed. That owl was barely 2 bites. We almost finished him. The moment I saw Cody, it was like being struck by lightning. My eyes widened in horror. His fur was completely matted with blood, and the stench of decay hit me like a wall. He was still chewing on something, the crunching, grinding sounds making my fur stand on end. Weren't they supposed to be stopping Vic from cutting down trees? What was this? The owl. That was Hoot. They ate Hoot. Cody shifted his enormous body, and I finally saw the full scene inside the cabin. King and Mo, the monkeys, were jumping around, waving Hoot's feathers. Vic the lumberjack was gnawing on one of Hoot's wings, tearing away bloody strips of flesh that dripped grotesquely onto the floor. Cody tossed something directly at me. It hit me before I could see what it was. When I recovered, I was staring into Hoot's dead, unblinking eyes. It was his head. I fought with every fiber of my being to stifle the scream rising in my throat, to resist the urge to fling the head away. Squeaky, you always liked the head best, didn't you? I saved this just for you. Don't follow Cody's orders. That had to include this. The sight of them cannibalizing their friend shattered my entire understanding of this world. Wasn't this supposed to be a children's story? How did it turn into this nightmare? My stomach's still upset. I'll pass for today. Give it to Cole. As I looked up, I noticed Scamper the squirrel, huddled in a corner, his face a mask of unconcealable terror and despair. He wasn't watching Vic. He was watching Cody and the others. I shuffled to the side, and my back bumped against a loose floorboard. Shielded by my small size, none of them noticed what I was doing. Etched into the wood were new lines of text. The real crown is with Mo. Don't touch the one on King's head. If Vic takes off his hat, don't hesitate. Do not answer him. Scamper is the only real animal left alive. The moment I finished reading, the words faded away with the light. What did that last line mean? What had this forest become? I watched them, mesmerized in horror, as they devoured their friend, drool mixing with blood on the table, a feast for the damned. I couldn't believe it. Fuzzy Friend's forest was gone forever. 3 outside, the shadows of the trees danced like clawed monsters, dark enough to swallow everything whole. Squeaky, come with me later. We'll check the perimeter, see if we can find any more prey. It was Vic, the lumberjack. I remembered the new rule. Should I answer him? Was this rule real? When I didn't respond, he didn't seem bothered. He just kept smiling, the corners of his mouth stretching wider and wider, all the way to his ears. Blood began to trickle from the newly formed gashes. His dark, empty pupils dilated, focusing squarely on me. I can't answer him. He's not Vic. I saw him stand up and reach for the chainsaw resting on the counter, his hand moving toward the pull cord. Squeaky is coming with me later. Can't be stealing my help, Vic. A black cat leaped from the windowsill and landed in front of me, answering for me. Vic's expression slowly returned to normal. Without another word, he picked up his chainsaw and left. The cat, Patches, wrapped his tail around me and lifted me onto his back, carrying me away. When we reached the edge of the forest, Patches finally spoke. You've seen what they've become. Every last one of them is a monster. He didn't wait for me to reply, just continued his story. Vic was the first to go. Those things ate him, piece by piece, leaving behind an empty shell. Then they took it over. Whenever he starts that chainsaw, any animal that hears it loses control and walks right into the blade. Gets sliced in two. That's how Hoot died. Patches seemed lost in a painful memory. It made sense. In the cartoon, he and Vic were inseparable. If this was the real Patches, his grief seemed genuine. I didn't know if I could trust him, so I remained silent. You have to find the real king and get the last set of rules. That's the only way to find your way back. You don't have to believe me, he said, but you don't have a choice. Unless you want to end up like the others, your bones buried somewhere in this forest. Patches, go help Vic. He's found prey. I instinctively dodged the approaching squirrel. Honestly, I couldn't tell Scamper and Chatter apart. I'm coming, Scamper. Don't forget to bring some nuts for dinner. Patches flicked his tail and hurried off, leaving me face to face with the squirrel. Don't believe a word Scamper says, versus Scamper is the only real animal left alive. The two rules were in direct conflict. Only one could be true. An idea formed in my mind. After Patches was gone, I turned to the squirrel. Scamper, I whispered. I'm thinking of going to the fields to look for some carrots later. Want to come with? Squeaky, are you crazy? There are no carrots left in the forest. Those monsters ate them all. I lied and told him I'd found a secret patch of wild carrots we could check out. Scamper just stared at me with wide, helpless eyes filled with terror. He scrambled away from me. Squeaky, you haven't been possessed, have you? Did you become a monster too? He turned to run, but I quickly blocked his path. Scamper, look at me closely. Do you see any torn flesh or fangs? I was finally sure. Of the two rules, Scamper is the only real animal left alive, was the one I could trust. And that meant I could trust what Scamper said. For Squeaky, I'm so scared. They've all turned into monsters. Looking at it this way, if I hadn't shown up in this world, Scamper and the original Squeaky would have ended up as monster food. But wait, the monsters seemed to know Squeaky well. Or maybe the Squeaky before me had already been turned into a monster. Scamper didn't know that Squeaky was a monster, which means Scamper was Squeaky's next meal. I looked down at my own paws, a wave of nausea washing over me. After a long moment, I finally spoke. Don't worry, Scamper, we're going to get out of here. Do you know where King and Mo are living now? That was right. After the invasion, none of them lived in their old homes anymore. King and Mo were especially hard to find unless they chose to show themselves. Scamper led me to a cave surrounded by a pool of water, and once again, the scene before me was stomach-turning. Piles of bones were stacked on either side of the cave entrance. A carpet made of bloody pelts stretched from inside the cave all the way out to the path. The pool of water was no longer water. It was a moat of blood. I couldn't hold it back any longer. I scrambled to a nearby tree and threw up until my stomach was empty. Once I recovered, I was about to go find Patches to ask him something, but Mo called out to me. Squeaky, you usually can't stand the smell over here. What brings you here all by yourself today? The probing look on his monkey face was unmistakable. A deeply unsettling feeling filled my chest. Wait, by myself? I came with Scamper. Where's Scamper? Question after question flooded my mind, but I had no time to think. Answering Mo was the priority. Just felt like coming. What? Not going to invite me in? Of course you can come in, but King is sleeping right now. You can't wake His Majesty. I know. Your king is very precious. The inside of the cave was much better than I had expected. At least the overwhelming stench of blood was gone. Worried that Scamper might have run inside, and wanting a chance to find the crown, I used the excuse that I was hungry for some fruit. Mo, likely not wanting me to discover something, told me to wait there while he went to get bananas. The moment he was gone, my eyes scanned the room. King's crown holds all the truth you're looking for. Be careful. Don't let Mo see you. The real crown is with Mo. Don't touch the one on King's head. I had a daring thought. What would happen if I touched the crown on King's head? As I mulled it over, I reached out my paw. The instant my claws made contact, Mo rushed back out to stop me. Don't touch that. Something was fishy. His reaction was too extreme. This was very strange. I quickly snatched the crown off King's head and clutched it to my chest. Before my eyes, Mo let out a heart-wrenching scream and instantly disintegrated into a pile of dust. King was still asleep. I took the opportunity to look at the crown in my hands. New rules were inscribed inside it. King's crown can kill Mo. Don't touch the bananas Mo offers. Learn to tell the difference between Scamper and Chatter. The exit is in the dense woods. Note, it will only appear after Vic is dead. Beware of King. A rustling sound came from beside me. King was waking up. I carefully placed the crown back on his head. The first thing he said upon waking wasn't about Mo, but to me. Thank goodness you're here. Otherwise, I would have been controlled by that monster forever. What did he mean? He told me many things, including the rules hidden in his crown. Seeing the undisguised shock on my face, he let out a short, cynical laugh. Come on, great savior. Let's go meet those monsters together. But he had left out one rule. Beware of King. King was lying. Maybe I could trust Patches. So far, none of the rules had contradicted him. I rejected King's suggestion, leaving the door open by saying I'd come find him if I needed his help. 5. When I got outside, I found Scamper hiding at the edge of the woods. He had been terrified. The cave was filled with a strange, suffocating aura, and he felt like he couldn't breathe, so he ran. I believed him, of course. His timid, trembling demeanor was nothing like that of a monster. After leaving him, I secretly contacted Patches. I need your help. My words clearly didn't surprise him. Without a flicker of shock, he produced a detailed plan. We would use Vic's cabin to burn them. Cody and Vic were excluded. The two bears were too strong, and Vic had his chainsaw for defense. It was too risky. What about King? I saw that King was included in the plan. After a moment's thought, I decided to tell Patches about the rules I had seen. Since we're not sure, It's better to deal with him at the same time. This world is treacherous now. You don't want to be stuck here, do you? As I was about to leave, I remembered something important. You can tell the difference between Chatter and Scamper, right? Don't get them mixed up. Of course I can. Also, have Scamper hide this medicine. It's the last of the good stuff. Given my current identity as a gopher, I volunteered for the task of tunneling under Vic's cabin to plant the explosives. Patches would be responsible for luring the others there. Scamper, wear this silver charm and don't ever take it off. Got it. With everything arranged, I went to prepare. Patches, didn't you say Vic had some honey hidden here? Bring it out. Cole had already arrived, plopping himself down on the bed. Chatter stood on the table, sipping from a bottle of fruit wine he loved. Squeaky, what are you doing down in that hole? Come on up and have a drink. Chatter had been suspicious of me from the start. Seeing me in my tunnel now probably made him even more so. Just storing some carrots, I said. I'll be up in a minute. I quickly pulled a half-eaten carrot out of my tunnel to show him. His suspicious gaze finally shifted away. That was close. Chatter, I'm going to take a nap, Cole mumbled. Wake me up when Vic gets back. Just like that, he rolled over and started snoring. King arrived with bananas and set them on the table. I had visited King the night before and told him a fake plan. His presence here meant he had let his guard down. I saw a strange powder on the bananas, which King had sprinkled on when he thought no one was looking. Patches was right. King couldn't be trusted. The Real King was a vain, careless character. But this one, since waking up, hadn't asked about Mo once and had been acting with unnerving precision. If I hadn't been so cautious, I might have fallen for his act. King drank a glass of water that had been drugged and passed out. What looked like a peaceful, ordinary day was a web of plots and betrayals. I didn't want to die at the hands of these monsters. They couldn't blame me for being ruthless. They were the cruel ones. Patches' tail twitched slightly, a subtle flick in the air as if brushing away dust. But it was our signal. It was time. When no one was looking, I ducked into my tunnel and lit the fuse. Patches and Scamper locked the door from the outside and were already waiting at our agreed-upon spot. Boom! A massive explosion ripped through the air. Flames erupted, consuming the cabin, a roaring inferno to purify all the darkness within. Now, for the other two, Patches said grimly. I saw the flicker of reluctance in his eyes. That was Vic's house. Vic had been his family, the one he had depended on. No matter what he was now, they had been through so much together. But he couldn't afford to be sentimental now. If he betrayed us, I would be the one to die. Patches, he's a monster now. Think clearly. We only have one shot at this. Beside him, Scamper nodded vigorously, the silver charm on his neck swinging with emotion. I didn't notice it then. The charm I had given him was on a red string. The one around Scamper's neck now was white. Patches stared into the inferno as the house burned to ash, an unreadable emotion clouding his face. I didn't say anything more, just stood by, planning our next move. Six Cole was one thing, but Cody and Vic were not going to be easy to fool. If they found us out, I couldn't bear to think of the consequences. But we had come this far. There was no turning back. Cody would find out soon enough that Cole was dead. Patches, you hold off Vic. Scamper, and I'll go find Cody. We decided to split up. I had to kill Cody first before he had a chance to meet up with Vic. Cole's honeypot was still in my paws. I wasn't sure if the sleeping drug inside was strong enough to take down Cody, so I added some of the rat poison Patches had stolen. The original plan was to use it on Vic, but I had another idea. We found Cody sleeping in his cave, snoring like thunder. Cody, Cole said he wanted you to try this fresh honey. Scamper bravely hopped onto Cody's arm to make the offer. Cody's eyes were barely open, but he was still cautious. Cole treasures that pot. Why would he let you two have it? Under Cody's intense gaze, I felt an unbearable pressure. I lied and said Cole was already full and had saved it for him. Only then did he open his mouth and take a few big gulps. Worried the dose wasn't enough, I took the pot from Scamper and poured the rest of it into Cody's mouth. As I did, my paw brushed against a small piece of paper stuck to the bottom of the pot. How had I not noticed it before? Cole's honey is an antidote. Don't let Cody eat it. He'll go berserk. Oh no. No, no, no. As expected, Cody began to change violently. Roar, you're an outsider. All outsiders must die. It was too late. The monster had completely torn through Cody's furry shell and was now free. I immediately grabbed Scamper and ran. The monster pursued us relentlessly. Scamper, jump! Scamper's tail wrapped around me and flung me forward. I landed on a thick tree branch. Before I could even turn around, I heard a massive crash. Crack! In a deep pit below, the monster had been impaled on a series of sharpened bamboo stakes. I watched as its blood seeped into the ground, turning the earth black. Its body shriveled and dried up until it was nothing but a desiccated husk of burst skin draped over a skeleton. This was my backup plan. If Cody hadn't eaten the honey, Scamper was supposed to lure him here. My head was spinning. Why did that rule appear at that specific moment? According to the pattern, the rules were supposed to appear before things happened. But this time, I couldn't figure it out. Something felt wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Now, only Vic was left. It was almost over. I could finally go home. Patches, according to plan, had lured Vic deep into the forest, to the location of the only exit from this world. Vic, have you finished that business for Mr. Lee? Patches asked. Vic looked ahead with a cruel, contemptuous sneer. I hid in the nearby bushes, holding my breath, terrified he would spot me. Mr. Lee? Oh, his jerky is almost done drying. A wave of intense nausea hit me. Too bad. He was an old bag of bones. The soup he made was terrible. They finally reached the designated tree. This was it. Scamper used his claws to slash the rope tied to the tree. Rumble. Thud. Boulders and logs from the hillside began to roll down with incredible speed. Vic was completely unprepared. There was no way he could dodge it. We watched until he was swept away by the rock slide, then finally let out a sigh of relief. That's weird. I muttered to myself. Why hasn't the exit appeared? Vic is dead, isn't he? A flash of insight struck me. He wasn't dead. Vic wasn't dead at all. A silver glint suddenly sliced through the air. I dove into the dirt just in time to avoid it. It was Vic's chainsaw. He was alive. Even with his legs crushed into a pulp, he was still attacking us, propped up in a grotesque posture. The crisis was only averted when Patches smashed his head open with an iron shovel. The moment Vic fell, the lush forest changed in an instant. Yellow sand covered the dark soil. Withered branches and dead leaves littered the ground, tangled with bleached white bones. This was the Fuzzy Friends forest now. Seven, the mechanical voice screeched in my head again. Warning, warning, imminent life-threatening danger detected. Please evacuate immediately. Rules have been corrected. Please adhere to the following story rules. Do not trust any animal. Patches does not exist in this story. Patches is fake. If you encounter him, do not hesitate. Run. Do not let Scamper discover your true identity. Scamper is Chatter. I froze on the spot. Cold sweat poured down my back as goosebumps erupted all over my skin. Outsider, it's time for you to leave, Patches said slowly from behind me. His words should have been a kind reminder, but now they sounded like a demonic whisper. I didn't dare turn my head. If Patches never existed, then who was standing behind me? And Scamper and Chatter. The original rule said Chatter was dead. That means Chatter was a monster from the very beginning. They had altered the rules. The squirrel who died in that fire. That was the real Scamper. He had been pretending to be Scamper this whole time, just to figure out who I was. He and Patches were both monsters. But why? Why were the rules changed? No time. I had to run. I tried to act nonchalant, putting a weak smile on my face as I began to step away from them. My movements were so clumsy and transparent. I couldn't even fool myself, let alone them. But I couldn't worry about that now. My life was on the line. What was I supposed to do? Stand here and wait to die? Outsider, did you figure something out? Scamper, no, it was Chatter, blocked my only escape route. Well, you're going to be our food in a minute anyway. I suppose there's no harm in telling you the truth. And then I learned everything. I wasn't the first outsider to come to this world. The very first one got drunk and foolishly told the monsters about the rules. He was immediately carved into pieces by the chainsaw. That was the first time the monsters learned that the rules existed. Every outsider who came after that was used by the monsters to find loopholes in the system, and every single one of them died a horrible death. The very ground I was standing on was probably a graveyard for their bones. The monsters changed the rules, systematically devouring every person who entered their world. The rules, which should have been a protective mechanism, had become their butcher's knife. But as the number of monsters grew, their food supply dwindled. So they came up with a new plan. Kill the other monsters. Escape this world. And I was the executioner they had chosen. What do you want? I snarled, staring at Patches and Chatter. Their flesh began to split and rupture, inch by inch, revealing skin that glowed like molten lava. Their eyes burned red as they stared at me, drooling. Patches, he's mine. Chatter leaped onto my back, opening his fanged mouth to snap my neck. I violently twisted my body, throwing him off. Then, with a powerful stomp, the ground beneath him began to crumble. Before he could react, he plunged into a bottomless chasm. Good. Even though they were allies, they didn't trust each other. Outsider, I'm not as stupid as he is. Patches' enormous form stalked toward me, step by step. Behind me was nothing but a cliff. The exit was behind him. If he ate me, he could escape. But the panic on my face was gone, replaced by an expression of pure indifference. Take a good look, I said calmly, and see who I am. A red mist began to rise before my eyes. A single, shrill scream echoed across the silent, dead land. The forest returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. No one would ever know of the bloodshed hidden beneath the soil. It's been a while since I've eaten so well. Who's next? Could it be you, my dear friend?